Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another Exhumed movie review. Today we are talking about Village of the Damned. Quick though, before I get into that, I want to say thank you to my creepy patron peeps for your support of my channel. Thank you so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. I don't know if this was suggested by anybody. I didn't write down that it was. I somehow feel that it was, and if it was and I'm not mentioning you right now, I'm so sorry. I don't know if they were suggesting this one or the remake, because I guess John Carpenter made a remake and I didn't know about it. I'm definitely gonna butcher the director's last name, so just, you know, bear with me. You should be used to it by now. Directed by Wolf Rilla and starring George Sanders, Barbara Shelley, and Michael Gwynn. 2 months after unknown forces caused all the residents of Midwich to lose consciousness for several hours, the women of the village all become pregnant. All of the children are born around the same time, and the villagers discover they are far from normal children. The children all appear to share the same consciousness, and they develop at an alarming rate. Growing wary of their powers, Professor Gordon Zellaby, whose wife bore one of the strange children, gets permission to study them. Zellaby quickly discovers that the children are seeking to take over the world. All right, so like our Steel movie review yesterday, Village of the Damned is also based on a novel which was titled The Midwich Cuckoos, like the bird, cuckoo bird. It refers to cuckoo birds, obviously, who lay their eggs and deposit them in the nests of unsuspecting birds, who then raise the baby as their own. On top of that, the cuckoo chicks often kill the nestmates for competition of food and attention from the mama bird. Hence the use of cuckoo in the title, and it definitely applies to the children in the story as well. Let's get into what I liked about the Village of the Damned. What I liked was just pretty unique and fairly detailed. It was way more complex than just like a simple like alien invasion sort of thing. And it like the movie, like the plot unfurls in a couple of different layers. So first you have like the beginning of the movie where all the townspeople fall unconscious for a couple of hours. The British government like investigating that. So you kind of think the movie is going to be about that for a second, and then, you know, all the women of childbearing age in the town find out that they're pregnant. So then the movie kind of turns into that, and then all the children are born. And then it turns into, you know, like the children are pretty weird. They all look alike. And, and you know, if you get in their way or you insult them, they're gonna cause you to die. I felt like that kept me interested the whole movie, because the movie kept kind of like changing gears slightly throughout. So it was a really nice touch. And, you know, speaking of the children, they were super creepy. They all have kind of like similar features, like they're all like this very pale blonde. Their eyes glow whenever they're like hypnotizing people, which is super creepy. They all wear the same clothes. It's definitely freaky, definitely kind of reminds you, you know, like Nazi sort of thing. And they, you know, they talk like adults, which is like, ew, like so creepy. Children are, you know, they tend to, you know, I have an aversion to them naturally, so. I also like the underlying message of the movie. I feel like a lot of the movie's like subplot is just like parental fear of, you know, your own children, the offspring, the next generation, whatever you want to refer to it as. Especially considering this movie came out in 1960, so we are definitely past World War I and II. And if you keep in mind, the horror movies of the 1950s tended to be, you know, like the giant bugs, like sort of like radioactive sort of things, and aliens, which is, you know, kind of the fear response to, you know, the atomic bomb being dropped. I feel like this movie kind of explores like a slightly different side to that. Like, you know, what is this next generation gonna be like, you know, growing up post like atomic bomb droppings? And, you know, if, you know, they're growing up in this sort of world where, you know, we solve our problems by dropping bombs on each other, what's that gonna be like? And I feel like that is kind of the whole point of this movie, and I really like that. There's definitely a lot to unpack in that sense with the movie, so, and I enjoy doing stuff like that, so. Anyways, let's get into what I didn't like about Village of the Damned. Really the only thing I didn't like was the ending. So obviously, as you can tell from what I was just talking about, I was definitely reading a lot into this movie, whether it was put there intentionally or not. That's just how I saw the movie. So taking that into account, I feel like the ending was a bit not helpful, I guess. So I'm definitely going to spoil it here. What happens is Professor Zellaby manages to trick the alien kids and blows them all up, including himself. Like, that's what he has to do to stop them from taking over the world. And I feel like, you know, especially after World War II, where this movie came out, it's just like, you know, that's hardly a solution. Like, okay, so we learned nothing in those wars. So your solution, if you have another group of people, obviously they're aliens, but they look like people, that want to take over the world, Nazis, blow them up. So, you know, if you read it in that way, the ending is kind of like, ooh, okay, is that really the best option? And I think it would have been more interesting with an open ending instead of, you know, them definitively being defeated in that way. Like, I think it would have been more interesting to be an open ending, which I can imagine. I have not seen the John Carpenter remake, but I can only imagine his ending is a little bit more open-ended and like implying that they're gonna take over the world, because I just feel like that's his style. Worth it. I think so. Was Village of the Damned worth it? I say yes. I would definitely like to explore this movie further and to see the remake for sure. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I quite enjoyed it. On IMDb it has a 7.3 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes it has a 96% critic score and a 76% audience score. And then on Letterboxd it has a 3.5 out of 5. This movie on Amazon, so I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box if you want to check it out that way. There's no pressure to use that link, but if you do, it does help out the channel a little bit. So if you've seen Village of the Damned, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. Let me know if I should check out the remake also. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a Creepy Peep today. Post videos Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay stitched. Bye!